What's going on, YouTube family? Today we're going to be talking about 10 ways you should never finance a car. Now, I get questions all the time, people asking me, should I do this? Should I do that? So I want to make this fun video because it's a little bit different. And now that the credit crunch is on, I'm starting to see a lot of people do some really crazy financing. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So there are many types of ways to finance an automotive vehicle. Traditionally, I tell people you always want to do a basic auto loan, simple interest, doesn't really get too complicated, or a lease. You want to stay in those guidelines. Now, there are a lot of things that you can do outside of the box, creative financing, that also work, but there are a lot of pitfalls, and that's what we're going to cover today. Number 10 is financing a car with your credit card. Now, I know a lot of people in the comment section are going to chime in saying, oh, I do it for the points, I'm going to pay it off right afterwards. If you're doing that, that's fine. But you got to remember, most dealerships will never let you pay 100% in full with the credit card because we don't want the risk or the liability. Because if you back charge that credit card, I lose the car and all the money. So most dealerships will not let you do that. Now, if you do find one that will let you do it, just remember that, like I said, you're on the hook for a very high interest rate. Even if you got 12% or 0% interest for 12 months, eventually something's going to happen where you're going to have to make payments on that. Also, you don't want to be left holding the bag when it comes to that interest rate. If you're paying 24 to 30%, it's better just to get a traditional loan. On top of that, you are going to absolutely destroy your DTI, your debt to income, when your car goes way over 100% usage or you max it out. It's going to look very bad on your credit. So I tell a lot of people, please do not buy your cars on a credit card. It will do more harm than good. Now, I know a lot of people watching this are going to say, no, I know how to hack it. I know how to get points out of this and keep transferring it so I never have to pay interest. My advice, I would definitely stay away from it, but you're going to see more of these things happening now that the credit crunch is going on because people can't basically get financed the traditional way. Number 9 is lines of credit. Now, I know a lot of people get these to either help with, cash flow for their business, or if they're fixing something up around the house, they need some extra money. But here's the downfall. A lot of these lines of credits are not at a fixed interest rate. They're variable. So let's just say you get a loan in 2022 and the rate is very low. Fast forward to 2024, moving into 25, the rate's going to be much, much higher. So if you get a loan now thinking you make the payments, and as the rates go up higher, eventually that's going to cost you more money. So I tell people it's not easy to plan. The structure's all over the place, and at any time they could cancel or close your line of credit. If they do, you're going to be in a world of hurt because then you're going to have to pay it off, and then you're going to have to sell the car and be right back in the same position. So don't really get those for automotive financing. Number 8 is always a personal favorite. It is personal loans. I don't know why people go out there and go get themselves in crazy high debt to get a personal loan because they want to hold the title. They don't want the bank holding it. I don't see the reason in that. If you can give the bank the title and get a lower interest, why wouldn't you? Why would you just go out and get a personal loan? Now, if you're going to basically plan on, using that car and borrowing against it in the future, I definitely don't recommend you doing that with a personal loan. But I see a lot of people doing this all the time, especially with Navy Fed. They'll go out, get an auto loan, not turn in the title, and after 90 days, it converts to a personal loan, and then they're pretty much screwed. Also, I see people getting a personal loan for their down payment. So they have more money to put down on the car, and now they have 2 loans they have to pay instead of just 1. Don't mess with personal loans. Like I said, it's not really worth the headache. Number 7 is co-signing for a vehicle. I always tell people you want to steer clear of this. Now, I know a lot of people want to help friends and family and other people get into these cars, but you have to remember, you are 100% liable for whatever happens to the vehicle. So I tell people, don't ever co-sign for a car unless you're perfectly capable of paying all the payments and insurance yourself, because don't be surprised when a lot of people will just walk away from the car or just take off with the car and you're left holding the bill. On top of that, this does mess up your DTI, your debt to income. So if you need, let's say, a car for yourself, your car is going to break down, maybe you're getting ready to buy a house, you're pretty much screwing yourself into a financial corner, not allowing yourself to be able to buy this because you're too far in debt because of this other vehicle. So please keep that in mind before you co-sign. I don't ever recommend it because, like I said, it is a bunch of stress and headache because now you have a 5-year commitment to whoever you're signing this car for. Number 6 is taking over somebody's existing car loan. I see these all over Facebook Marketplace. I see friends do it. Oh, just take over my car. Just take over the payments. I don't want it. Everything is good. You don't ever want to do this. 1, you are not the legal owner. If there's some sort of issue with the car, whether you get maybe towed, impounded, you get into an accident, your insurance could say no, you won't be able to pick up the car because you're not the registered owner. There's a lot of reasons why. But the biggest thing is I've seen people literally make all their payments, give the person the down payment, and then next thing you know, the repo man shows up knocking on their door saying they're picking up that car. You could be like, well, I made all the payments, I took care of it. They don't care. At the end of the day, it is not your car, it is somebody else's car. Plus, you don't get any credit for making all the payments. So why go through all this headache and all this grief and all this stuff just to build up somebody else's credit or help them basically fix a bad decision that they made by paying off somebody else's car? Please don't ever take over somebody's auto loan. It is never a good idea. And just remember, at the end of the day, it is not your car, it's somebody else's. So if something happens to that car, you're pretty much SOL. So reason number 5 is something that I'm seeing growing at an alarming rate. It's people financing cars with title loans. Now, most title loan companies finance anywhere from 200 to 300% interest, which is absolutely insane. I know a lot of people can't get qualified for traditional financing. They're desperate, so they go out, buy a car cash, and then they take it to a title loan company and borrow the money right back against it. And now they're paying all this crazy interest. It's not worth it. I would rather see you buy a $1,000 car and take $250 and go put money down on a secured credit card and build your credit that way. I've seen so many of these companies basically snatch up people's cars because at the end of the day, they don't care. They want you to pay as much interest as physically possible. You're going to pay 2 to 3 times what you borrowed for that car by the time your loan is up. On top of that, some loans are structured where you pay interest only every single month, but the principal stays the same. So you're pretty much paying it down for eternity. Do not fall into these pit traps. I'm telling you, you need to be safe. Just pay for cash, something that's even a cheaper bucket. Do not do title loan financing. Now, number 4 is something a little bit controversial, and this is what's called CPN financing. These are fake Social Security numbers that you can buy on the internet. There's people out there selling them. They don't work. It's fraud. It's illegal. Don't do them. I know people are in my comment section who chime in. It's not illegal to have a CPN. You're correct. It's not illegal to have one, but it is illegal to use it to defraud a bank or a financial institution. And that's what you're doing. You're basically saying that this is my credit when it's really not. I've seen so many people go out and buy these things and then buy trade lines or something to throw on it. None of that stuff works now. We have so many things that we could double check to see if that is a real Social Security number, not just some, BS CPN. There are tons of videos online now of people trying to use these things in dealerships and getting arrested right there. So please do not mess with any of these fake Social Security numbers or any of these, get credit immaculately in 60 days things. It's all BS. Just pay to get your regular credit fixed. Do not buy one of these fake credit profile numbers. They never work. I'm telling you right now, just stay away from it. Number 3 is seller finance. This is something you want to stay away from for a lot of reasons. 1, if you're buying it from a regular person, at the end of the day, this person is relying on you to make their payment. So it's already putting somebody in a bad situation. On top of that, you are both individuals. So when it comes to rights, the court's going to treat you accordingly. If for any reason you don't make a payment, the person's going to have the right to take the car faster, where at least the bank will give you 90 days to work with them, make payment arrangements. He can be basically nice to you all the way up to where you're paying your last payment. He could ignore you for 2 weeks and then repo the car, and then you're SOL. I've actually seen this a lot with a lot of foreigners. They will go borrow money from some of their own people, and then basically when the car's almost getting ready to get paid off, they make some sort of excuse and they repo the car and they turn around and sell it to somebody else. Don't ever do seller financing, because at the end of the day, you have no rights. Even if you paid him cash, you have to prove it, and if you can't prove it in court, the judge is going to side with the other owner, because like I said, there's 2 individuals, no banks. Basically, there's no real big bad guys. You guys are both neutral parties, and they will side with whoever. So that's why I tell a lot of people, stay away from seller financing. It's not really worth the headache. Number 2 is getting advances on your 401k or your stock market portfolio. I've seen this a lot lately because a lot of people, rode the stock market. They got a bunch of extra money, so they figured they would just borrow some money against your 401k and just go ahead and leave some of the money in there or cash some of it out. I tell people you want to stay away from this. Let your money make your own money. If you're borrowing against it at a very, very low rate, maybe you can get away with it. But a lot of times it's not like that. They charge you a fee. They penalize you. If you sell some of your stocks, you're penalized as well. Maybe you have to pay capital gains. There's all kinds of problems and headaches with doing this. I tell people, if you can't afford to buy it either cash or finance it the traditional way, just stay away from it. It's not worth the headache. So we finally made it to number 1, and this one's going to shock you. I see these instances every single month in the car business. I call it either sugar daddy or sugar baby financing, boyfriend or girlfriend financing. I've seen people literally buy cars for somebody else just for this person to finance it. You never ever want to do this, because let's say you're a person and I like my girlfriend and I want to buy her a car. So I buy her a car in my name, I give it to her. What happens when we break up? I don't want to be negative. I don't want to foreshadow anybody's relationships, but these things are a real business issue. What's going to happen? Is there any loyalty to her making payments after you break up with her? Probably not. On top of that, are you sure she really likes you? Or is she using you for your car? You know, is the guy that you're dating a good guy, or is he a deadbeat just trying to get a car so you can go out and smash other women? This is something, like I said, that I literally see every single month. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a story, and this one's kind of sad, but it's also funny in another way. So I met a guy that was a pastor of a church. Nice guy, and he wound up taking this girl that used to be a stripper. She wanted to change her life. She was hooked on drugs, and so she started going to the church, and this pastor went out of his way to basically take care of this girl. And I think he had a little bit of a crush on her from the vibe that I got. But make a long story short, he gave her an apartment to stay in inside the church. She didn't have to pay. All she had to do was clean up around the church. And she wanted to get a job, but she said she couldn't get a job because she didn't have a car. So this pastor came out of his way and says, you know, can I buy the car? And I'm like, yeah, you can do that, but I recommend you not doing that in your name. If you want to give her some money and put it in her name, just so you're in the clear if she takes off, you can do that. Or if you put it in your name, let's put a GPS in it and do some other stuff. The pastor had really good credit. He's like, I'm not too worried about it. You know, she's a good girl. She's going to take care of me. Less than 45 days after I sold him the car, he came back knocking on my door. Hey, is there any way for you to track down this car? I said, no, you didn't want to put a GPS in it. Let me make a few phone calls. Let me see what I can do. He left, didn't hear back. 3 months later, he shows back up. And he's like, hey, he goes, is there any way I can get the car back? Can I report it stolen? I'm like, no. I go, you gave her the keys. You know, you put it in both your guys' names. So she's a legal registered owner as well. You just have to make the payments. So this poor girl took the car that was in both of their names. She's not making any payments. And this poor pastor has to pay every single dollar because he wanted to do a nice thing for somebody else. That's another reason why I tell people you never want to actually co-sign for anybody, and you don't ever want to do any type of sugar daddy, sugar baby financing or boyfriend or girlfriend financing, because we never know what's going to happen with financial or personal situations. I've seen this happen way too many times where it's family members, friends, especially boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wives, a little bit different because, you know, at least you got some sort of legal grounds there. But when it comes to boyfriend and girlfriends, do not buy them a car. If you want to buy them a car cash, that's fine. If you're buying a car, put it in only your name. So this way, if they take off, you have some sort of repercussion. But even if you hand them the keys, you can't report it stolen because you gave them the keys. So if they get arrested, they can sue you for lying to them. And it's a big old ordeal. I've seen it happen a few times with family members going after each other for cars. So these are some of the 10 crazy ways you should never finance a car. Hopefully this was enjoyable. If you guys have any questions or comments, put in the comment section below. If you've done any crazy financing, let me know. I know there's a lot of buy here, pay here dealers that are going out there charging people 30, 40, 50, 60% interest. The reason why I didn't list them in here is because unfortunately buy here, pay here dealers are a necessary evil for the auto business. If it's not for them, other people will not be able to get cars. But it's a lot cheaper than a title loan at 200 to 300%. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next video.